So George the Second, 1683 till 1760. So when was he in? George II was King of Britain and Ireland, Duke of Brunswick, and we're gonna Prince Elector of the Holy Roman Empire from 11th of June 1727 until his death in 1760. Born and brought up in northern Germany. George is the most recent British monarch born outside Great Britain. So he was a German. I don't know why it just doesn't tell you. Stupid Wikipedia. Why don't you just tell you the years that he was the king? Why did it tell you when he was born? Right, 17. Oh, right, okay, so that's later. 1727. Why does it say 1122? Just says coronation. Why does it just say coronation there? Successor George III. What the hell? So 1727. It claims, this is what it claims, I doubt this is true. As king from 1727, George exercised little control over British domestic policy, which was largely controlled by the Parliament of Great Britain. Yeah, right. It's more like beyond leaders, while he was busy wrapped up in the corporate enterprises and affairs, which were really controlling everything. And then they just legislated so they could do what they want with their businesses. So 1727. So this is kind of like. So this guy. So this guy, kind of. 7, 8, 3, 13. So this guy is not born until 13 years after William Penn is in Parliament. Not Parliament, sorry. In the Old Bailey. 13 years. This guy isn't born until 13 years after William Penn is in the Old Bailey, which was 1670. And Penn was it was in his early 20s, so 20, 30, 40. So William Penn was kind of like in his sort of mid-30s when this guy's born. This guy's just been born when William Penn's in his kind of like mid-30s, and William Penn's knocking around over in America quite a lot. His dad's an admiral, and we've got the Tumultuous Petition Act 80. So this guy's born before 83, so something like 8 or 9 years before the Bill of Rights, this guy's born. And then 83, 4, 5, 6, 7, so he's only 5. So this guy's only like 5-year-old. 5-year-old when the Bill of Rights is enacted. And then I don't think William... 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 15, 16, 20. So he's going to be... This king's going to be around... I bet when William Penn dies, passes away in England, I bet this guy is only just about around the age William Penn was when he was in that Old Bailey in court. So the reason that I'm bringing this up is... So this law here. So this law then, George II... So this is kind of like George II's reign is kind of like after the Bill of Rights and sort of around the time William Penn's on his way out. Although I think Penn had quite a lot to do with it, contribute towards it. William Penn's definitely contributed to that bill being written. Persons may prosecute actions against members of Parliament in the intervals of session. So I don't know if that was the law, if they could do that before this or not, or whether it is like an addition to a previous law, but I'm going to find out. Judging by those older charters, they made it sound like members of Parliament were treated differently to everyone who was in the local charter, in the local, even the sheriff, the mayor, the alderman, everyone. Apparently we're all equally accountable to the law with each other, except the assizes judges who came around from London, the justices, and the minister. But I think it was because he was doing work for Parliament. I don't know whether or not he could be prosecuted by those people for his ordinary affairs. But whatever happens, when we get to... Well, actually, this will be after 1688, isn't it? So, illegal prosecutions by the King's Bench for matters cognisable and debatable only in Parliament. But that's affairs of anything to do with Parliament. But the thing is, you can bring all kinds of cases to Parliament. Because, like, the Court of Civil Requests dealt with civil cases. The thing is, you could petition for pardons and all kinds of things to Parliament. Any case, really. Anything to do with any part of government in the entire country, as the case may be. So it could be anything that you're either appealing or bringing a fresh case to. You've got the right to do it to Parliament. Now the thing is with this, we've got to remember that, you know, going back to 1640s, you don't have a permanent Parliament, and if they're going to have a Parliament, and if they're going to call one and hold one, then they'll elect people to go represent everyone. So they didn't need any. They weren't really doing it all the time, were they? They were only doing it for a very small window. So for that work, then obviously I think they would have privilege, because they were complaining about privilege when Oliver Cromwell was in there. And I'm quite certain that when they elected people into Parliament, and they turned up to go in there. I'm quite certain that they've got this principle established with the basis and principle of bringing proceedings in law, with witnesses and so forth, and the jury and the sheriff and the citizens. There's a certain model, right? And when you bring the Tumultuous Petitioning Act, I believe that model's in effect, which is why they put a cap on how many people could participate without consent of a bigger, larger jury of the public, to make sure they check what they're up to, right? Because they've got the privilege, because they're bringing a case to the Parliament. And then in the 1688 Bill of Rights, they make all prosecutions illegal, but from the King's Bench, not Parliament, because you're bringing a case to Parliament, and that's why. And that's the same as, like, illegal prosecutions by the King's Bench, because for matters cognisable, debatable in Parliament is the matter that you're bringing to Parliament. Now, if you didn't have a Parliament, then people would bring it themselves. If you had a Parliament, then it goes through their MPs, because they're really representing you, really. It's all proxy, really, through MP. But now, MPs are more permanent. Now, it says here, people can be prosecuted in between sessions of Parliament. This is kind of like in the American Constitution when they drafted it up, and it's like you can't, senators can't be arrested when they're on their way to Congress. Now, the thing is, for matters of Congress, it's said that senators can prosecute each other there and then in the Senate if they call each other out, and they can have it on a vote. They can just go on a vote. I think that John Kennedy was doing it the other day, saying that he was going to impeach someone. They can just, suddenly, I think if the whole of Congress want to do one of the other senators, like if 2/3 of them say, right, we're going to do you, they'll just do you. Obviously, if they've got a case and evidence, I think. But is that for any matter or anything, or only for matters that they are in relation of things that they are on the menu, on the agenda, not something that happened somewhere else or so forth, because that isn't part of those circumstances, unless it is part of those circumstances. But I think they would decide whether it was or not. This is really what the Privileges Committee is meant to do in Parliament. It's meant to evaluate the complaint and see if it falls under that jurisdiction. So what I don't understand is what Hanningfield was doing in the Old Bailey, why Jeremy Johnson QC was, popping up with his letter. Oh, it's representations on behalf of the House of Lords. Well, the House of Lords was saying, oh, we're going to exercise, say that this is under parliamentary business. But why didn't they do that in the first place when they assessed it with the Privileges Committee? Does it take a while to make their mind up? But even if it did fall under Parliament, but then I think that Jeremy Johnson KC paper, Observations on Behalf of the Lords, is meant to be that they were banging on about, well, there's nothing preventing this case from going forward, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, it was a matter of whether what Hanningfield was doing falls under matters and affairs of Parliament or not. That's what it came down to. Because apparently, according to this does not differentiate between Lords and Ministers and MPs. It says Parliament. It says persons may prosecute actions against members of Parliament. But the thing is, you see, you got Magna Carta, which says that barons and lords can only be fined by their equals. Which that clause has not been going to be in effect anymore. So that means that barons and lords can not only be fined by their equals. So I think Hanningfield's case was all about, was it Parliament business or not? But the thing is, even if it was parliamentary business, then that means that if it's under the jurisdiction of Parliament, the thing is, if there was a question about his expenses, surely there has to be proceedings to investigate it to establish, the facts. And then surely there should have been some kind of case with Hanningfield in the Supreme or High Court or wherever they want to do it. I'm not really bothered where they do it. They can do it where they want for all I care. But, this is the thing. If Hanningfield had been involved in something where there was, questionable goings on with monies, you need to find out what's going on with it. And that's the whole point in those election petition procedures, because regardless of privilege, you want to find out what's what. That it mainly concerns finding out, if there's evidence that something has been done wrong, it needs to be investigated and, tried so justices can find out, that's the point, you need to find out what was wrong so you can put it right. So if they're not on trial, then you can't do that. I don't know I don't know about the actual punishment part of it with the imprisonment. I found out there's a lot of imprisonment. In fact, all you have to do is read through that 1688 Bill of Rights dialogue from Parliament with William Orange. I think they're banging up loads of people. They're banging loads of people up. Bishops. I think there's people from the House of Lords, or possibly. Oh, yeah, because all those people who didn't. All right, yeah, I've just remembered now. So you've got all the active indemnity as well, all that business, the active indemnity business, which basically there's an active indemnity, but which covers everyone unless you're exempted out of it, which means then he can do you. And those were the people who didn't have allegiance to the king or had been done something dodgy or whatever, and he exempted them out of it, so they didn't have indemnity. And I think quite a few of those people were lords and barons. So that means they did prosecute them. So I guess in a way, I don't think that even if he exempted them out of the active indemnity, whether they would be prosecuted in the Old Bailey or with the rest, you see, who is judging what is Hanningfield's business or not? Well, they said that. Well, I don't know if if that trial would have gone ahead in the Old Bailey with Hanningfield, the problem is, in my mind, that are they judging whether or not it was work for Parliament or not, and whether he was covered with it in that court, or were they going to, as well as, tried him for the offence as well, which would mean that it would have been in the exact same situation that I was in Leicester, with my case, when I said, I'm using the right to petition, I got immunity. I said, all right, then let's see it. But they have to prove that it exists. Hanningfield doesn't have to prove that parliamentary privilege exists and that there is such a thing. And if Jeremy Johnson case, he said, he's got parliamentary privilege, the Lords have just sent a letter through, they're exercising the authority. Well, why don't they say, okay, then we'll have a civil hearing then and you can show us the model for it. No, we know what the model is, okay. Oh, that's okay, then I don't have to prove my model, but Lord Hanningfield doesn't have to sit there prove the model. No, Jeremy Johnson's just giving you the model. I didn't see a model in there. I didn't see any model or basis in there. But Hanningfield was in between sessions of. I don't know whether this means like in between sessions when in between when you attend, or like in between kind of like, when they used to have it. Because you could interpret it it needs checking to whether it means in between Parliament, not having a Parliament. Oh yeah, didn't the King? Yeah, in that dialogue with Orange, they prorogue it. He prorogues it in one of those dialogues, and that's 1688-89, isn't it? I think after the sessions or whatever. But we've got a Parliament permanently now. So the thing is, if it means okay, let's have a Parliament and get people elected in to represent, and then afterwards we've done, that's it, go home, that's finished till next time, till you see next year or whenever, does it mean that kind of in between sessions, or I'm off to Parliament today, I'm not going back till next Tuesday, that in between sessions, or in between any sessions, that's the thing. Now, I know that quite a lot of MPs, I didn't used to hear about MPs getting prosecuted until really all the shenanigans kind of started to get going. I don't think I ever really heard about it until that Spencer scandal, I think, and then Nicola Sturgeon, and then you've got some MPs actually been prosecuted for various other things like drugs, but not Liz Truss magically escapes it. So the police have been knocking around with them, but you didn't really hear much about things like that before 2012-ish. I never really thought I heard too much about MPs getting prosecuted. I never really noticed it. I think what was that Cyril guy who was he Lib Dem, and all his paperwork went missing from the police station when the police tried to go after him, all that kind of stuff going on when people go after MPs, strings being pulled from higher authorities and jurisdictions when they have words, we don't really have that. I think that's kind of stopped now. They decided that it's going to happen, unless it's someone like Barry Sheeman, or whether they seem to have, part of the clockwork. Ed Davey. So it doesn't seem. I wonder if that Magna Carta clause was still in effect at this point, though. If that Magna Carta clause was still in effect with barons and lords, they might have had the full. I need to check when they repealed what they were doing with the repeals in that. There's only 4 clauses in effect, but since when? The document says that you can't annul it. It's all or nothing. There's a legal argument for that in the Supreme Court for sure, and in the Americans use it all the time. Magna Carta. They'll probably use those clauses that are still in effect. But when did they? I'll be interested to know at what point they started pulling all those barons and lords business out of it. That's important. Maybe then. Maybe here. Maybe this is it. Maybe this George II. Maybe that's this. Maybe they pulled that Magna Carta clause out with lords and barons. Then maybe this is why this law. Maybe he did this, and that's when he pulled that Magna Carta. That's a possibility. That is a possibility with the 1688 Bill of Rights. Just afterwards, coming into this George, maybe he pulled that Magna Carta clause, because I know the King was banging him up for that act of indemnity. We know that for sure. You see, I should know all this, but this is I can't read every single thing all at once. I'm just kind of this is as we're going along. So I need to read this, I need to read that, I need to fill that bit in, I need to fill that bit in. But at least I know what bits that I'm looking for, and now I know what bits what need verifying and checking to fill in. Now I'm not, is rather than not having a clue what the hell you're looking for, at least we've got kind of most the jigsaw puzzle borderlines and the whole frame kind of thing sort of starting to get filled in now. Just a matter of at least what we're starting to get the picture of the timeline. But why at the end of the day, look at Lord Hindfield. But obviously, you know, they didn't think that. Clearly, they didn't exercise they didn't pull him under the jurisdiction of Parliament. Previously to that, they must have just left him to go to the dogs for a while in prison. So this is not work of Parliament. So, yeah, ministers, you wouldn't have had MPs. I think the main thing is this: MPs weren't MPs for very long. They were only MPs for short periods of time, and then gradually more and more. That's important, and they are there to represent us when otherwise we don't need them, because we can. It's all, in a way, it's almost like the middleman. It's almost like you can, at the end of the day, it's almost kind of like, if you get an estate agent, to sell a house, you sell your house through an estate agent, or you could just sell it yourself. I've got a house, do you want to buy it? Yeah, how much do you want to give me for it? Whatever. And then you just give them the money. I mean, I don't know who's going to sort the freaking documents out and all that. Well, someone will, but it's like that. I think, you do it for the estate agent, they sort everything out for you. That's the thing with the MP. But at the end of the day, you're still selling a house. If you're selling a house or you're not, right? If I've got, it's at the end of the day, you got your paperwork and documents, and either you do it if you know what you're doing, or estate agent does it. That's really, I think, a good model for it. Now, what the government and police are trying to do with us at the moment is kind of say that, only estate agents have certain rights and, legal effects. But if you were selling a house, then surely you would, if you're selling it directly, sell a house to the king. No, it's okay. My estate agent will deal with it. My local MP. Can you sell my house to the king for me? Yes, of course I can. You're saying I haven't got any rights. If you don't know what I'm doing, go to the paperwork, get the petition written up, get it signed, get signatures on. Boom. That's it. I'm doing it. What are you doing here? Hello, officer. What you do? What's you doing? Oh, I'm selling a house. I don't believe you. You can't sell a house. Only estate agents can do that. Oh, well, what are you doing then? I'm enforcing the law. Well, only police officers can do that, really? That's not what the Criminal Law Act 1967 says. But then again, the police think that it's their law. There's loads of things going on in London now where they're just using brute force. It's called the force. Got orders. There's no orders under the law. The law's the law, and everyone has to comply with the law, right? Now, sometimes it says, a constable in uniform, blah, 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 blah. But if you're exercising, the thing with it at the moment in London is they've got this Section 42 trash. Was like, we'll just throw a Section 42 blanket down and then, blah, 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 which is tosh. There are other laws which are overriding and in effect, and the police are just not interested. I don't really know what you do at that time when the law says you have a right, and their law that they're using does not have a right over your right. You got a problem, and they're the ones with the truncheons, handcuffs, uniforms, backup, radios, the rest of it that we bought for them, we paid for them, but no, they're theirs. I pulled the fun in, and the thing is, every single one of the people who are running for government is like more bobbies. Why don't they say more solicitors, more prosecutors, more private prosecutors? Why don't they say more private prosecutors? And then you can. Why don't they say, we'll set up a private pro bono for the public? Direct access to lawyers. Why don't they say, we'll set up a new... Bill Gates is going in there, Government Department of Innovation and Technology. We've got the Crown Prosecution Service. Why don't they open up, why don't they have more Crown prosecutors? Why don't they, open up a new local departments of Crown Prosecutors direct access, you know. Oh, look, it's a barrister. Oh, yes, I'm not trained to work with the public directly. I'm not direct access barrister. Well, why don't we have more direct access Crown Prosecutors, you know? Everyone's got mobile phones now. Everyone's got mobile phones. Everyone's got cameras. Everyone's got evidence. You know, this is the thing with the police now. We've got, but we don't have, maybe we don't need truncheons, maybe we don't need handcuffs. What about health and safety? Well, we'll see when we're getting caught. This is the thing, go into the Crown Prosecution place with your phone, with the evidence, with the person's details, and bang it on the table and say, right, well, I want to go search the house, get me a warrant from the court, boom, this is the thing. Oh, no, more bobbies on the streets, yeah, PC plod, dun, this is it. Just a minute, don't the citizens have the right to enforce the law equally as to any police officer, jurat, the mayor, or, alderman or whatever? Apparently we're all equal in the law, but at the moment we're not, because the police are the big badass police force. Bulletproof fucking windows, security cameras everywhere, fences, truncheons, tanks, backup, helicopters, boom, boom, boom. Like the fucking Batman going around the Dark Knight. They say, look, mate, fucking hell, someone just put a window through, I filmed it with my phone. And it's 16 hours later, waiting for the police to answer, 15, 5 hours later, oh, I'll give you a log number. Oh, I just need to go for a shit. Bring me back in 6 weeks. No, we're not going to take any action. Like, boom, boom, boom. Get out of fucking CPS office. Boom. Right, here you go. There's the evidence. There's the person. Get me booked in court. Get me in. Fuck the fucking, the police is ringing me up. Unknown number. Don't speak to my hand because my face ain't listening. Don't call us. We'll call you. More bobbies on the streets. If we appeared in 1642 now with this mobile phone, and a camera, and a car, if we're still fucking left with one of those after this finished with us with a car, it'd be like fucking Alien, wouldn't it? Fucking hell. I've got 500 people from the village sign this. Well, look, here's a photograph. Ooh, what's that? A photograph, look. Oh, my barn's all damaged. Yes, look, here's a video. Press play. Oh, look at all those soldiers. They're attacking my barn and stealing the paintings. See, I told you. Just one little video. Look. Oh, it's like the tablets come down from Moses. Look. But I've got 30 people in the village here who all claim it never happened. Look, all written, scribed down on paper. Yes, well, here's technology for you. Even though it probably could have been faked by Bill Gates, the video didn't even exist. It's probably an AI fucking video, probably a Tom Cruise deepfake, but they'd fucking believe it. This is the thing. The police now, right, what's happening is they're militarising. More security, watch everything. But we've already got our own cameras, what happened to the jury in the magistrate's court? What happened to us getting evidence? No, it's all under control of the police. I think that it's tosh. I think they're building a army, and there is no justice when a robot takes a photo, you get a fine through, admit it, pay it within 80 days, confess, submit, accept, consent. Just a minute, I want judgment by my peers, not by a biased, prejudiced police chief who's got more funding. He doesn't deserve funding. I catch murderers and criminals. Well, it's looking like there's a few murderers rocking up outside the police station now after you arrested 3 innocent people stood in the street, disabled person, an old woman, for doing sweet FA, just stood there. This is it. The police need a dose of policing. That's what they need. And, rather than more bobbies on the streets, let's have double the CPS instead. double the capacity of the Crown Prosecution Service. They've been closing courts down. They've been closing down Chorley, Northallerton, Halifax, all these beautiful old court buildings. Ooh, it's all done online now. Push a button, block, 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 bang, 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 bang. Don't want to talk to you, don't want to talk to you, don't want to talk to you. Can't talk to anyone now. Nobody wants to talk to anyone. They have to talk to you if you take them to court and turn up. Oh, now sort your problems out. Make friends again. Hey, you blocked me on Fiverr for nothing. All I did is say, could you do this for me? And, don't like that. But I haven't done anything wrong. It's what you're offering to sell. Well, can I have number 63, please? Oh, what you asking for a number 63 for? I don't want to talk to you again. But it's on the menu. You're offering it. It's like walking into a fucking Greg's pasty shop. Oh, can I have a sausage roll, please? Oh, no, get out of my shop. How dare you? This is a man coming here asking for sausage rolls. Yeah, well, you've got them on sale. I'll have 3 of them. No, you may not. Well, what are you doing, you stupid woman? This is it. This is what Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates and Elon Musk have created. Insanity, whimsical nonsense. The police are claiming antisocial behaviour, but it's actually they're creating antisocial society because no one's allowed to behave. They're actually, the lie of Rishi Sunak's government is that he's creating antisocial behaviour. No, sorry, he's trying to stop antisocial behaviour. What he's trying to do is stop socialness. He's trying to stop people socialising. He doesn't want people to socialise. And now they won't socialise, never mind over swearing or shouting or anything that actually is illegal. Just, there's a new law that Rishi has created, which is don't like. It's a don't like law. The new legislation of Rishi Sunak is if you don't like it, it's illegal now. And you can just not speak to people ever again, and this is the problem with what they've been doing to us. All the corporate people, we don't like what they're doing, but tough, the council have been approving it anyway. They are blocking us from blocking them, except they're encouraging us to block each other, which is scandalous.